Your small intestine releases your natural GLP-1 when it detects certain nutrients, high-protein foods, soluble fiber, monounsaturated fats, reduce stress, exercise, sleep quality. Coaching can also be an effective way to manage the constant food noise by helping you manage your mindset, your thoughts, and your behaviors. The foundational work is exactly the same. Medication or not, you still need to heal your relationship with your body. Your individual needs are important. Midlife in Motion is the podcast for women who want to reclaim their metabolism, maintain their mobility, and recognize their divine worth. I'm your host, Angie Collingwood, fitness and yoga instructor, body confidence, and menopause coach. This show bridges the gap between science and soul. We move beyond quick fixes to discuss the real pillars of longevity. Get ready to start dancing into midlife. Welcome, amazing friends. If you have turned on the news, scrolled through social media, or even just attended a dinner party in the last year, you have undoubtedly heard the chatter. It is the biggest topic in the health and weight loss world right now. GLP-1 medications. You probably know them by their brand names: Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, Zepbound. For some, these medications are being held as a literal miracle. For others, they are viewed with deep skepticism and fear. And if you are a midlife woman struggling with insulin resistance, sudden weight gain, and a dysregulated metabolism, you might be sitting in the middle, quietly asking yourself, is this what I need? Is this the only way out? Today, we are taking a deep, entirely judgment-free dive into the science of GLP-1 medications. We are going to strip away the celebrity hype and look at the hard clinical evidence. We will cover exactly how they work, the very real pros and cons, how to know if they are the right choice for your unique biology, and alternate pathways you can take. Take a deep breath. You are the CEO of your own body, and today we are giving you the data you need to lead. So, what are GLP-1s? Let's start with the biology. GLP-1 stands for glucagon-like peptide 1. It is naturally occurring incretin hormone. This means it is produced in your small intestine and immediately released into the bloodstream after eating. Its primary jobs are to tell your pancreas to release insulin to manage your blood sugar, to slow down how fast your stomach empties, and to send a signal to your brain saying, I am full, you can stop eating now. It is a critical component of the gut-brain axis, the communication network that regulates hunger, appetite, and satiety. How the GLP-1 hormone works in the body. GLP-1 regulates metabolic health and weight through several key biological mechanisms. First, appetite suppression. It acts on receptors in the brain to signal fullness and satiety. This triggers the brain's I'm full switch. Slowing digestion. It slows gastric emptying, the rate at which the stomach empties into the small intestine. Blood sugar regulation. GLP-1 stimulates the pancreas to secrete insulin when blood sugar is high, which helps move glucose into the cells for energy. Glucagon inhibition. It blocks the release of glucagon, a hormone that tells the liver to release stored sugar into the bloodstream. By inhibiting glucagon, GLP-1 helps prevent blood sugar spikes and maintain overall glucose control. GLP-1 receptor agonist medications. While the body produces GLP-1 naturally, it is typically broken down within minutes by an enzyme called DPP-4. The current medications currently dominating the market are GLP-1 receptor agonists. They mimic this natural hormone, but they stay in your system much longer and at much higher concentrations. They have extended action. Unlike naturally occurring GLP-1, these medications are designed to resist DPP-4 enzymes, allowing them to last for hours or even days rather than just minutes. These drugs do not make you lose weight directly. Instead, they make it significantly easier to consistently eat less by quieting food noise and reducing cravings. The pros. Let's look at some of the clinical pros for these medications. Metabolic regulation. For women dealing with severe insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, or type 2 diabetes, these drugs might be beneficial. They forcefully correct the blood sugar roller coaster that midlife hormone shifts often exacerbate, quieting the food noise. This is often the most reported mental health benefit. If you spend 80% of your day obsessing over what you just ate, what you're going to eat next, or fighting intense cravings, GLP-1s effectively silence that internal monologue. It gives the brain a massive break from the mental load of chronic dieting. Weight loss and cardiovascular protection. Clinical trials show dramatic reductions in total body weight, which in turn reduces joint pressure and lowers systemic inflammation. Recent studies also show that some of these medications significantly reduce the risk of major cardiovascular events. Now, let's discuss the cons. If they do all of that, why isn't everyone taking them? Because, like all powerful medical interventions, they come with a biological cost. The common side effects of GLP-1 medications range from frequent gastrointestinal issues to more serious metabolic and psychological concerns. Most side effects are mild and improve over time with careful dosing. Here are the cons and the critical risks you must consider, especially in midlife. First, sarcopenia or muscle loss. When you lose weight rapidly on GLP-1, you aren't just losing fat. Studies show that up to 30 to 40% of the weight loss can be lean muscle mass and bone density. In perimenopause and menopause, your muscles are your metabolic engine, and your bone density is your physical armor. If you do not actively strength train and eat extra protein while on this drug, you risk becoming smaller but fundamentally weaker and more fragile. Because the drug drastically slows down gastric emptying, many patients experience severe nausea, acid reflux, constipation, bloating, and vomiting. Systemic symptoms. These can include things like fatigue, headaches, dizziness, slightly elevated resting heart rate. The rebound effect. GLP-1s do not cure insulin resistance. They manage it while you are taking the drug. Clinical data show that if you stop taking the medication without having fundamentally changed your lifestyle, nervous system habits, and nutritional framework, the food noise comes back roaring, and the majority of patients regain the weight, often gaining back more fat than muscle, which leaves their metabolism worse off than when they started. Financial. It can be highly expensive and prone to manufacturing shortages. Food and taste aversions. Some people report a meat ick, aversion to high protein or fatty foods, and notice that certain foods just feel metallic or off. Dehydration. GLP-1 medications can blunt the body's natural thirst cues, increasing the risk of dehydration and further complicating conditions such as constipation. Hair shedding. Rapid weight loss, more than 2 pounds per week, has been linked to increased hair shedding. The risks. The medical community has identified several serious evidence-based adverse effects beyond just muscle loss and rebound effect. Because these medications fundamentally alter how your gut, brain, and endocrine system communicate, they carry specific biological risks. If you are considering these medications, it is vital to be aware of the following risks. First, gastrointestinal complications. Between 20 and 70% of patients experience mild to moderate digestive issues. This can lead to chronic vomiting, severe bloating, and abdominal pain. While often reversible upon stopping the medication, some patients have reported prolonged digestive paralysis even after discontinuation. It is particularly risky for anyone with a history of digestive surgeries or underlying neurological conditions. Pancreatic and gallbladder risks. Your pancreas and gallbladder are forced to work differently when GLP-1 pathways are artificially flooded. Acute pancreatitis. Clinical trials and real-world data have shown an increased risk of acute pancreatitis, severe inflammation of the pancreas, gallbladder disease. Rapid weight loss on GLP-1 is associated with biliary issues, specifically an increased risk of developing gallstones or acute gallbladder inflammation, which often requires surgical removal of the gallbladder. Acute kidney injury. The kidneys are incredibly sensitive to fluid volume. The most common side effects of GLP-1s can lead to rapid and severe dehydration. If patients are not meticulously replacing their fluids and electrolytes, this dehydration can cause decreased blood flow to the kidneys, resulting in acute kidney injury or worsening chronic renal failure, masking or triggering eating disorders. From a psychological and behavioral health perspective, appetite suppression can be a double-edged sword. GLP-1s can mask the symptoms of malnutrition or act as a trigger for relapse into severe restrictive eating, like anorexia nervosa. Because the food noise is entirely shut off, patients can easily drop into a state of clinical malnutrition, failing to consume the minimum baseline of vitamins, minerals, and essential fatty acids required for brain and heart functioning. Low blood sugar. There is a risk of hypoglycemia, particularly for individuals already taking other glucose-related medications such as insulin. Groups requiring caution. Users of oral medications. Because GLP-1s slow digestion, they can impair the absorption of oral medications, including oral estradiol, oral progesterones, and oral contraceptives. Those at risk for muscle and bone loss. Women in the menopause transition are already at risk for losing lean mass, since 15 to 20% of weight loss on GLP-1s can be muscle. Those unable or unwilling to participate in resistance training and high-protein nutrition may find the long-term metabolic cost too high. Individuals with mental health concerns. Emerging anecdotal reports and some research suggest a correlation between GLP-1 use and depression, anxiety. Those experiencing significant emotional changes or listlessness should consult their provider immediately. Natural versus sympathetic. Natural. Your body releases a microdose of GLP-1 proportional to the meal size, and the enzyme DPP-4 destroys it within 2 minutes. The stomach empties normally over the next few hours. The quiet satisfaction after a meal fades, leaving you hungry and motivated to find food a few hours later. Synthetic. Scientists altered the molecular structure of the hormone so that the DPP-4 enzyme cannot break it down. Instead of lasting minutes, synthetic GLP-1 drugs circulate in your system for up to a full week, keeping your brain and stomach in a perpetual post-meal state. Food physically sits in your stomach for hours longer than usual, which is why a few bites can make a person on these medications feel completely full. By constantly binding to the brain's reward centers, the medication continually mutes cravings, eliminating food noise entirely, but can occasionally cause temporary emotional flatness. How to decide? How do you decide if GLP-1 is right for you? It requires looking at your health objectively, not emotionally. Discuss it with a qualified health practitioner. Medication is not a moral failing. It is a tool, but you have to ask yourself, have I built the foundation first? If your nervous system is in chronic fight or flight, your sleep is completely dysregulated, your diet is highly inflammatory, and you have no joyful movement, adding GLP-1s is like putting a brand new high-powered engine into a car with 4 flat tires. It will push you forward for a little bit, but eventually the wheels will fall off. So there are some ways to naturally trigger your own GLP-1. Your small intestine releases your natural GLP-1 when it detects certain nutrients. While it only lasts for about 2 minutes before being destroyed by enzymes, you can maximize its release through specific dietary choices. Let's look at some natural ways to support GLP-1 production. High-protein foods. Protein is the most powerful natural trigger for GLP-1 release. Lean meats, fish, eggs, Greek yogurt, and legumes stimulate the gut cells intensely. Soluble fiber. Foods like oats, chia seeds, Brussels sprouts, and beans form a gel-like substance in your digestive tract. This delays digestion and triggers sustained hormone release. Fermentable fibers, prebiotics. When healthy gut bacteria break down fiber in your colon, they produce short-chain fatty acids. These fatty acids bind to receptors in your gut to stimulate extra GLP-1 production. Whole food sources are chicory root, Jerusalem artichokes, garlic, onions, leeks, and asparagus. Healthy fats. Monounsaturated fats, such as those found in avocados, olive oil, and nuts, provide a steady, prolonged signal to the gut to release incretin hormones. Reduce stress. Chronic stress increases cortisol, which impairs GLP-1 release and influences eating behaviors and food intake. Exercise. The combination of aerobic and resistance training can be especially beneficial. Sleep quality. GLP-1 response and sleep quality are interrelated. Poor sleep quality can delay peak time of GLP-1 after eating and affect food intake regulation. Coaching can also be an effective way to manage the constant food noise by helping you manage your mindset, your thoughts, and your behaviors. This is something that I could definitely help you with. Microbiome support. To keep this system functioning, it is important to protect these microbes by avoiding diets high in ultra-processed foods, which can damage the microbiome and drop GLP-1 signaling. Avoid late-night eating. Try to keep at least a 2-hour window between your last substantial meal and bedtime. When you fast overnight for at least 12 hours, your body can naturally increase GLP-1 signaling and improve insulin sensitivity. Strategic meal sequencing. Food order. You can actually change your hormonal response to a meal simply by changing the order in which you eat your food. The veggie protein first rule. Clinical studies from diabetes research demonstrate that eating your fibrous vegetables first, followed by your protein and fats, and saving your starchy carbohydrates for the very end of the meal, drastically flattens your glucose and insulin spikes. By putting fiber and protein into the digestive tract first, you give your gut's L cells a head start on releasing GLP-1 before the carbohydrate arrive, significantly reducing post-meal cravings and energy crashes. Slow eating and the cephalic phase. Digestion and the subsequent release of hormones actually begins in your brain and mouth, not your stomach. Listen to your body's natural hunger and fullness signals and be present while eating, paying attention to your senses. Fast eaters have lower levels of natural GLP-1. It takes roughly 20 minutes for the gut to produce and send the GLP-1 fullness signal to your brain. Thoroughly chewing your food and slowing down your meal pace gives your body time to register the nutrients and release the brake on your appetite. Yerba mate. Research indicates that the compounds in yerba mate tea can increase GLP-1 levels and significantly slow gastric emptying, which is the exact mechanism prescription GLP-1s use to keep you feeling full for hours. The yerba mate in energy drinks, however, is not effective. The nutraceutical supplement I have been using is clinically researched and extremely effective. I'll share more on that at another time. Vinegar. Research shows that consuming vinegar is an evidence-based way to naturally stimulate your body's production of GLP-1. The magic in vinegar is not the apples or the grapes it was made from, it is the acetic acid. Here is how acetic acid acts as a natural GLP-1 trigger. When you drink diluted vinegar, the acetic acid is rapidly absorbed and neutralized into acetate in your bloodstream and gut. Acetate is a short-chain fatty acid, the exact same powerful molecule that your healthy gut bacteria produce when you eat fiber, triggering the L cells. You do not need expensive gummies or supplements to get this benefit. In fact, the dehydration and process required to turn vinegar into a gummy completely strips away the acetic acid, rendering them metabolically useless. To get the benefits of vinegar, follow these guidelines. The dose. Use 1 tablespoon of liquid vinegar. Apple cider vinegar is the most popular due to its milder taste, but any vinegar containing acetic acid like white vinegar or red wine vinegar will trigger the same chemical response. The timing. Drink it roughly 10 to 20 minutes before a meal, particularly your heaviest meal of the day or one containing starchy carbohydrates. Protect your enamel. Acetic acid is highly erosive to tooth enamel. Never drink vinegar straight like a shot. Always dilute your 1 tablespoon into a tall glass of water and ideally drink it through a straw to bypass your teeth entirely. The choice to use GLP-1 medication is a deeply personal decision. Use a personalized approach. Understand your health history, symptom severity, and personal preferences. Ultimately, these medications should only be used under strict supervision of a licensed healthcare provider who can monitor outcomes and adjust dosages based on your unique history. My friends, whether you and your doctor decide that a GLP-1 medication is the right bridge for your health, or you choose the natural lifestyle route, the foundational work is exactly the same. Medication or not, you still need to heal your relationship with your body. You still need to learn to eat to support your hormones, lift heavy things to protect your bones, and regulate your nervous system so you can find peace in your own skin. Allow yourself the time to find what works best for you. Your individual needs are important. Your health matters. You have divine worth. Let's take a moment to find some calm amidst the chaos. Allow yourself this time to pause. Place a hand on your heart. Take a deep breath and feel gratitude. Give yourself a 20-second hug and thank your body for her continued strength, embracing your inner power. Thank you for being here today. Trust yourself, honor your biology, and remember, you were born to bloom gold. See you next time.
You are building a foundation for the next 40+ years of your life, brick by brick, breath by breath. You are a miracle. Treat yourself like one. If you know a woman who needs to hear this, please share this episode and remember to subscribe. I'm Angie Collingwood. Keep moving and dancing. This is Midlife in Motion. I'll see you soon.